Our next speaker is Stanisław Szostak, CEO of Astral Forest, who will tell us more about the benefits of AI in running an iGaming operation. Stanisław, Stan, welcome.
Thank you very much.
This is the clicker. The stage is all yours. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thanks, Willem, for the introduction. We spoke about risks. Now let's explore some opportunities. And today, so just who I am, I'm Stan, founder of Astral Forest, the iGaming data and analytics agency, and I'd like to present you a showcase how we can build the competitive advantage thanks to AI agents and the data. So just to set the stage, let's imagine it's Thursday morning, you're on the highway in your Mercedes on the way to the office, and you're riding smoothly until there's again some roadworks, so you have to slow down and you're stuck in the traffic. Let's use this time productively. Imagine you press the button on your steering wheel to activate your voice assistant and you say, for example, "Hey Siri, so what were the numbers of my marketing campaigns this week? Am I on target? Maybe I'm outperforming." 3 seconds lapsed and you get the answer. 3,000 new depositors, 160K new incoming GGR, 200K GGR from returning players. You were the most successful in the cohort of 18 to 25 and people coming from small towns. Is that even possible? Yes, and let me tell you how to do it. So you need 4 things. The first one, everybody's got it. It's a voice assistant. Basically, it's available in every smartphone that virtually everyone has. So let's move on to the next items. The LLM, as you can see in the top right corner, everyone can have it. You just go to, for example, chatgpt.com. You put your credit card. It's a fractional cost and a no-brainer for any company to use this kind of productivity tools. So let's assume that everyone can have it. Now, time for the missing 2 ingredients where you can actually make the difference. The first one, the data. I have written not everyone can have it. Data is everywhere, you'll tell me. It's in the PAM, in the CRM, in the affiliation tracking software, in the website tracking, in all of those systems. But the question is how to leverage it, how to use it to your benefit, and this is the hardest part. And finally, the know-how, which is the glue between the data and the LLM that allows you to actually employ all those technologies and to answer the questions that I showed you in the example. And this is something that either you have or not. So, going into the details for all of those items, beside the item number 1, because the voice assistant, nothing to be said about this, but let's go into the LLMs. I'm sure that you've all heard many times about them, and every week there's a new model which is released. There's many companies that are running in this huge race for innovation. Everyone wants to be the best. There's also really many companies that are specialized in benchmarking the models. They will bring up multiple metrics that allow you to compare. One of them is the intelligence index, which you can see on the screen. And this is the graph I generated last week. The thing is that with the pace of change, it's probably already obsolete. But still, last week, the O4 Mini was the top one performing, then Gemini was the second, etc. Most probably, the positions might be changed this week. But what you need to remember that at the end of the day, the approach you need to take is that you need to go modular and treat those models like replaceable parts. So just like in the car, you would replace a tire, you would replace the brakes, or a bulb. The same way, one week you use one model, the next week you use another one. It's just like a parameter in everything that you do. What you need to remember as well is that you have the usual trade-off between power, speed of response, and cost. So if you use this LLM and, for example, you deploy them in your own servers that are somewhere in your physical location, then you'll have great control, you'll have limited costs, and limited power and performance. If you go for popular cloud models like OpenAI, you will have great power, you will pay a lot. you will have slightly lower control, but it's still secure according to the compliance standards. So it's always a matter of choosing in which team you want to play. Now, moving to the next item, the data. We're speaking about the differentiators. Let's imagine the following setup. You walk into a library, and you want to read a specific book, maybe a Drive from Daniel Pink. And you go to the counter, you say, hey, I'd like to read this specific book. Can you show me where can I find it? Yeah, sure, just go down this aisle, go to the P letter because it's by author, P like Pink, you'll find it there. Then if you find Pink on the shelf, D like Drive, so the D letter, you'll find it alphabetically. Easy to find, easy to navigate, anyone can find it. And what if it was slightly different? What if you come to the counter and they tell you, yeah, the books from 1973 are here, those from 2014 are there, go figure. And this is something that people often imagine, that you just take the AI and it will magically solve all problems. It never happens and it won't happen. And I heard people asking, hey, dear AI, so here's the data. We take the data from all the systems, figure something out. Unfortunately, that is not enough. You need to have data of good quality, and you need to have that special sauce, which is the know-how. The know-how, I say that it consists of 3 elements. The first one is the knowledge within the organization. You will have it written on any internal wiki sites. Sometimes companies use Confluence as a knowledge base. It's written in the PDF files where, for example, you define what is the workflow for detecting and treating problematic gamblers. In any sort of documentation, emails, call transcripts, you name it. Everything that can serve as a context for the model and for the data. Speaking of the data, any technical documentation that will relate to your systems, to how they are organized, described, the lowest level possible, the better, detailed you are, definitions of KPI, and finally, the last item is about the framework. So when it comes to understanding what the framework will apply here, I always think about the example of a factory. So imagine that you enter maybe chocolate factory, and you want to see how it is produced. You come closer to the assembly line, and you see that there's a couple of robots which are aligned one after another. The first one is taking the raw produce, the cocoa beans, it's passing it to the second robot. The second robot performs the processing, heating, grinding, whatever, moving it to the third robot. The third robot will transform this into the liquid and pour into the molds in order that you have these nice star-shaped chocolates. And the robot number 4 will put them in boxes, package, label, and put it on a pallet. So in a similar way, you need to think of your AI agents as if this was an assembly line. So imagine that I'm asking to my system, and so it will be to the first AI agent. So what were the numbers for my marketing campaigns, and did I outperform or did I hit the targets? The first robot will interpret whatever you say. Then it will figure out where does it need to look for the answers in the knowledge base, maybe in the data warehouse, maybe in the reports. And then it will dispatch to the appropriate agent, which is responsible for doing one very simple, very narrow tasks. So you've probably heard many times that the LLM can hallucinate and can bring up completely fictitious responses. The way to address this challenge is to very narrowly define them, the scope of duties. Dear agent number 2, you are responsible only for going to the data warehouse and retrieving results, for example. Or agent number 3, you are responsible only for taking in what agent 2 gave you and transforming it into the natural language. So you have this kind of flow where the question gets transformed into a request. The request is transformed into code. The code is sent to the data warehouse. The data comes back and is getting transformed again into a meaningful answer that you would listen, for example, while stuck in the traffic, you would hear out from your voice assistant. So this is more or less the way that this could be organized. Now, if you want to be successful, there's 3 things that need to happen so that we can get the expected results. The first one is the executive alignment and the sponsorship. So I never seen an initiative like this succeed without proper support from the C-level. The C-level needs to be aligned that, yes, we have a vision, we have an idea, we want to modernize not only our front office services, but also our back office, because when we speak about decision-making, this is mostly related to the back office processes. We need to have a budget, and we need to be aware that within our activities, we need to allow some room for errors, because typically the best results come from multiple attempts, and sometimes it can be even a side effect of what we are working on. When you have this vision and alignment, you need to have the right people, so the product owners, preferably in-house, because this will be the one that will cascade the vision and define the tasks, define the deliverables, define the organization, how you want to actually deliver the different items. And you need to have this capability to work in Agile, because this might be make or break. You need to make experiments. There's a high chance that at the first attempt may not be up to the expected level of accuracy, but then you move on, and you improve your product, you improve the system, and you get more and more traction and results. Finally, the data. What does it mean that you need organized data? The data needs to be from as many sources as possible, so the most complete, the better. It needs to be accurate, so you need to be confident that the numbers are correct behind whatever is getting brought. And about the confidence, people need to trust it. So you need to have also the processes that will allow the data to be well governed and maintained. Now, let me tell you a story, a quick one about one of the iGaming companies operating across multiple verticals, because they are present in online casino, they're present in sports betting, and they also have a game studio. What was the case for them? I got in touch with the CEO of one of the verticals, one of those business units, and he was telling me that whenever there's an audit, for example, the MGA requests specific information, my BI team disappears for 3 to 4 weeks. I cannot get my answers. I'm stuck because I have no idea which direction should I take with my acquisition campaigns. And it takes a lot of time to build even the most basic reports. By the time they return, they had a huge pile of backlog that piled up over the time. And by the time I receive my answers, it's not my priority anymore, and the KPIs, they were and they are unavailable. So that was what triggered the need to implement this AI system, which connects the data, the AI, and the know-how. We had multiple challenges that were not only technological, because we speak about a technology which is in its infancy, its early stage. Many times you need to experiment, sometimes you need to go back to square one. And there is limited information on the internet, of course, because, again, infancy. There was also, for this company, limited information about the business processes. So whenever someone was leaving after 7 years, the whole knowledge was in their mind, nothing was written down, and then suddenly they were discovering that they didn't know how the process looked like. All of those things had to be provided into the framework. Also, change management. Many people were asking, can I really trust these numbers? Can I trust that this does not flow to the public internet? It does not, but it takes some time also about the convincing. And finally, training the model. Imagine you ask, so what's the best results? Which campaign was the best? You need to provide some context before you get this kind of answers. What do you mean by the best? What are the metrics that actually drive your decisions? This is the context and the know-how that you pour into the model. And to tell you what is the path, so once we know what is the scope that we want to take to start with, we create the backbone, so the framework, it's like a skeleton, and then we need to put some flesh on the bones. We need to put the meat, so this is the documentation. You feed the framework, and 80% of the time will be spent on improvement, fine-tuning, so you go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Typically, such stage from 1 to 5 takes 8 weeks, out of which between 5 or 6 will be spent on the improvement and fine-tuning. Then we put on top the governance, the security, and we're ready to go live. At the end of the day, both the business and the BI were happy because the BI stopped being nagged so much and the backlog, which is piling up, slowly and gradually started disappearing. The business was happier because they were getting answers in a self-service mode, and at the same time, they had much more time for the creative and productive work instead of just crunching Excel because the BI wasn't delivering everything at time. So, to sum it up, how to start in the era of AI? 4 items. Number 1, get a clear vision and align the leadership. Within this vision, then build the teams that are not afraid to failing, that have the ability to execute. Remember that the modular approach is the one to take, and that whatever you use today, you might need to replace it tomorrow, and think about it from the very beginning. And finally, as I told you, LLMs, everyone can have it, but the data, not everyone can have it. The data of sufficient quality, which is cleaned and maintained, this is going to be your differentiator, and this is going to be the way to succeed. So, thank you for your attention.